Saskatoon's economy is one that has seen its fair share of booms and busts since its inception in 1883. In the last 5 years, our city has seen a rapid rise in our economy. When measuring a city's economic growth, most financial analytics will be looking at what the city's GDP is. GDP is the acronym for Gross Domestic Product. It is defined as the cash value of all sales and services done within a year's time. Today we will analyze the current financial situation of our city, where the city's headed to, and if we are on the brink of an economic collapse. A collapsed economy can devastate the living conditions of a city. The results are a loss of jobs, profits, and social services that our community rely on. Collapsed economies force home and business owners into bankruptcy, creating job deficits.
We could see a slower period. A lot of things would have to happen. I call it the if, then we will have a problem. If the European situation has significant challenges, to the extent that it actually starts to drag down the development of Asia, and there continues to be a dramatic increase in oil production in the United States, there could be some slowdown in Saskatchewan that could be significant. On the other hand, if India and China can continue on this path and other parts of Asia can grow with them, and you can start to see some growth in Africa at a pace that we believe could be sustainable, you could see growth far in excess of the 2.5%.
As it relates to real estate, that would probably depend on interest rates. Interest rates are very fair right now, and opportunities for home ownership are there. So if that stays consistent, then I can't imagine a downturn. Now, granted, if things change, there is the potential for that. In real estate, if there would be a downturn, that would be less, obviously, homes changing ownership. If a downturn came, that could potentially be lower income, which would cut people out of the real estate market, which would put constraints on the market.
You know, I think like every company, and anybody who has had a company for a long time will tell you there's ups and downs no matter what. I mean, slight turns in the economy can certainly cause have a devastating effect on the things that you do here. People get nervous, they don't want to buy stuff, especially very high ticket items like we do. It makes it challenging if there's problems in the economy, as there has been in the last 4 or 5 years. Hey? I think if you saw interest rates go up by 5%, it would probably cut our business by 80%. So
it's quite a bit.
And that's the thing, is you just never know. So you have to always be conscious of what's happening outside, but you still have to be able to continue to run your company. Like if there's nothing going on in the economy, people don't tend to build unless you're companies like Walmart, 7-Elevens, higher, big conglomerate companies always want to do commercial construction in slow economies because it's much cheaper to build their buildings, right? Yeah. But the housing side of it would just about collapse. There's just not much to do. So one of the reasons we ventured into commercial and started doing commercial buildings is if in that eventuality we have something else to fall back on.
Saskatoon's economy is currently one of the fastest growing in Canada. The foundation of our economy is potash, agriculture, and oil. Nearly 2/3 of the world's recoverable potash reserves are located within the Saskatoon region.
Saskatoon as a whole, from its inception, has grown about 1.9% a year. What was different was that from the period of 1995 to 2005, we were growing slower than that norm, probably by 50 or 60% slower than that growth rate. And then when 2005 hit, we shot above that growth rate of 1.9%. So if you think of 1.9% from 1903 to today, you hit it in about 230,000 people. The difference was that we went from a relatively slow period from 1995 to 2005 to a comparatively faster period. And when you follow economic cycles, they don't follow the line directly, but they do kind of move along it.
Well, Calgary actually was where we are at right now, and we have the same growth rate that Calgary was experiencing when they were just over 200,000 people. It's anticipated that actually we'll get to the size Calgary is quicker than they did, just based on the strength of our economy and the diversity of our economy. Calgary was primarily just oil and gas. We have a combination of multiple natural resources, agricultural component. One of our primary resource component issues is potash. Everybody needs potash, and they will continue to need potash. And our oil sector in Saskatchewan has yet to be fully realized as well.
First and foremost, we've long been known for our agrarian roots, the agricultural economy. That once again is becoming a strong component within our provincial economy. Certainly the oil and gas plays that are in place now, those are also contributing to our robust economy. And I would say most significantly would be our mining.
So far it sounds as if Saskatoon is currently a good place to be. Our economy and housing is increasing at steady rates, but what does the future of our city hold for us? And is it possible that we are expanding faster than we can handle?
We generate about 8,000 new graduates a year. And so the employment base in Saskatoon's today, we're able to say about 150,000 people. But if you talk about an employment growth rate of 8,000 over 150,000, that's very close to 6% employment growth, which is about 3 times the rate that you would see in a normally well-performing community. So what we're tasking ourselves to do is to see a growth rate that was substantially faster than the Canadian norm.
You know, I don't think we'll see what people refer to as a bust, which follows a boom. We have a diverse enough economy that I think we will remain stable for a number of years. I do expect that there will be some peaks and lows, but nothing that would be measured or calculated as a boom per se. It's a very strong economy, and one of the things that does contribute to the strength is the diversity of what drives that economy, that it's not just one resource sector, that there's multiple facets to it. There's been an aggressive approach and plans for the growth of Saskatoon. We now have an integrated plan to get us towards 500,000 people. We're currently just over 230,000, but we recognize the rapid growth rate. They are predicting that the greater Saskatoon area by 2032 will be close to 400,000 people. It is a very steady growth rate, and that is due largely to the economy and what that does in terms of bringing workers and people and investment in Saskatoon. Oh, in 10 years' time, I bet you we are over 250,000 in the main city core, and we have continued investment coming from all across the world like we do right now.
Let me put it this way. There's no place I'd rather be right now than Saskatchewan, as far as business and what's happening. But could things change tomorrow? Absolutely.
In terms of the overall well-being of the city and province's economy, I think they're both things are looking quite promising for the future.
So there you have it. Saskatoon is predicted to continue its path of sustainable economic growth. With our large variety of incomes, ranging from resources to agriculture, it's safe to say that Saskatoon is on the fast track to becoming one of Canada's next major cities.